Did you know that there's a building at Disney's California Adventure that is secretly moved to an entirely different location? And most people have no idea. Today, we're diving into the hidden stories of Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure, attractions and buildings that have changed locations over the years. By the end of this video, you'll know all about a ride that flew across Fantasyland, a sandwich shop that just won't go away, and a building that's hidden in plain sight. Bricky here, ready to reveal the attractions and buildings that have switched locations over the years at Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure. Let's get started with today's video. I'm so happy you're here. Let's start with Dumbo the Flying Elephant, an early example of Disney's ability to transform a simple off-the-shelf ride with Disney magic. Dumbo was intended to be an opening day attraction in 1955, but technical issues delayed its debut until August of '55. The original fiberglass elephants were heavy, weighing about 700 pounds each, which caused a lot of operational difficulties. The ride's mechanism also struggled to handle the movement of Dumbo's ears, which were supposed to flap, but never quite worked as the way that they planned. Dumbo originally sat near what used to be the Fantasyland Theater, in a cramped back corner of Fantasyland. Today, that spot is next to the Red Rose Tavern. Back then, Fantasyland was laid out like a little medieval fair with tents and smaller attractions. It was all packed pretty tight together. It was also a dead end, so there was no walkway connecting it over to Frontierland. But in 1983, Disney decided to give Fantasyland a complete makeover. The area was designed to look more like a quaint Bavarian village, which meant they needed to move some attractions around to make the new layout work. Enter Dumbo's Big Move. The ride was then relocated to this spot behind me where Skull Rock Lagoon once stood. This new location created a much more inviting walkway for guests to attend Dumbo, pushing it to the Fantasyland outer edge. With the new move came a major upgrade. The version of Dumbo that we have today wasn't even designed for Disneyland. This one was built for Euro Disney, what we now call Disneyland Paris. So if you've ever wondered why this version of Dumbo is so much more ornate than anything else that you see in Fantasyland, it's because this has the design standards for Paris. Eventually, they would replicate it again so Paris could have one, but this Dumbo, it wasn't meant for Disneyland. And this move not only gave Dumbo a more prominent place in the park, but it also transformed the ride from a simple spinner to a beloved icon of not only Fantasyland and Disneyland, but every Disney park around the globe, showcasing Disney's dedication to creating magic out of the ordinary and taking a basic ride and giving it that Disney touch. Now let's spin over to the Mad Tea Party. This opening day attraction was inspired by the crazy tea party scene in Disney's 1951 film, Alice in Wonderland. Originally, the ride was located on the north side of King Arthur's carousel, wedged between the carousel and the Chicken of the Sea pirate ship. Imagine how chaotic that courtyard must have been, with teacups spinning, the carousel horses galloping, and guests crisscrossing through the area to reach other attractions. When Fantasyland got its facelift in 1983, Mad Tea Party was relocated to its new home here on Alice's Corner, where it fits perfectly along the Alice Dark Ride. The ride received some design enhancements, including all the beautiful new plants, the overhead lanterns, and a much-needed updated paint scheme. This is one of the most beautiful attractions at night. This move also allowed King Arthur's carousel to be shifted slightly backward, helping remove the congestion around the entrances to the ever so popular Peter Pan's Flight and Snow White's Scary Adventures. And let's face it, Peter Pan's Flight alone desperately needs all the extra room for the extended queue it can get, given how popular it has always been. All small moves, but it had a big impact on how guests experienced the inner view of Sleeping Beauty's castle. Now, before we move on to Disney California Adventure, let's take a quick detour to talk about some Disneyland classics that didn't just move around the inside of the park, they actually moved to Disneyland from across the country. The versions that we have here of It's a Small World, Primeval World, and Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln that you see inside of Disneyland today are the exact same ones your parents, or probably your grandparents, might have seen in New York City back in 1964. But there's one more fascinating tale, the Carousel of Progress. The attraction that started its journey at the World's Fair, then made its way to Disneyland And it wasn't done traveling. After a successful run here in California, the entire show packed up and moved to Disney World in Florida. It's the same show that began at the World's Fair, ran here at Disneyland, and now, like many other folks, it's retired to sunny Florida. One attraction that has zigzagged its way across the USA. Now let's head over to Disney's California Adventure for a story you might not expect. Did you know that only one ride in DCA has actually changed locations? It's pretty crazy with how many transformations DCA has seen over its 2 decades. But this one ride, it was a simple move. It was a full-on international transformation. Back when Disney's California Adventure opened in 2001, the land known as A Bug's Land was originally called Bountiful Valley Farm. It was themed around California agriculture. I know, you wish it was still here. Sounds exciting, right? It featured exhibits and attractions that celebrated farming. Damn, that sounds fun. But Disney fans weren't paying to learn about farming, and one quick year later, in 2002, Disney replaced Bountiful Valley Farm with A Bug's Land, bringing in Flick's Fun Fair and, of course, Flick's Flyers. To the best that I can determine, Flick's Flyers set somewhere around here, as the restrooms over here are the only remaining building on the eastern end of Bug's Land. The splash pad would have been right around over here, and in my mind that would put Flick's Flyers somewhere in this region. And I do love the giant Christmas light bulbs paying tribute to what once used to live here. The ride itself was based on the Samba balloon ride from the Italian amusement ride company Antonio Zambarella. Nailed it. But Disney gave it their signature Disney flair. 8 fun food containers suspended by stitched together leaves would lift guests into the air, simulating, and I love this, a bug's eye view of the world. Hey, it was cute, it was fun, but it wasn't meant to last in its original spot. Flick's Flyers and the rest of Bug's Land closed permanently on September 4th, 2018 to make way for Avengers Campus. But Flick's Flyers didn't just disappear, it moved across the park to Pixar Pier and re-emerged in 2019 as the inside-out emotional whirlwind. But before the Italian design ride would move to Pixar Pier, pieces of it took a detour to Germany, where a team of German artists created and painted the memories that float above your sky buckets. The ride mechanism is the same, but it now has a brand new theme. A new theme that resonates more with guests and ties into Pixar's Inside Out, creating a more realistic and relevant experience for today's youth and to today's families. So going back to the whimsical bug's eye view of the world to a look into emotions, Emotional Whirlwind is a perfect example of how Disney California Adventure keeps evolving to reflect current audiences' needs and embrace popular IPs that are familiar with today's families. Friends, I don't know about you, but all this moving is making me pretty hungry. What do you say we take a detour in downtown Disney to look at one location that has moved around more than anybody else in the long, weird, bizarre history that is downtown Disney? And over the years, lots of locations have moved around inside of downtown Disney. Wonderground Gallery, for example, but no business has had more locations in downtown Disney than our next spot. Earl's journey begins with Disneyland in 2012. It opened up where Compass Books used to be, and that area originally was part of the Disneyland Hotel. Guests loved it, and it quickly became a popular spot for grabbing a quick, delicious bite before or after hitting the parks. But in 2018, Earl of Sandwich closed, as Disney planned a new 700-room luxury hotel on this site. Fans were bummed, thinking they'd seen the last of their favorite sandwich spot. You've never seen the last of Earl of Sandwich, because just a week after it was closing, Disney announced that the hotel project was canceled, and Earl of Sandwich was back in business, baby. This is just the beginning of the Earl saga, because in November of 2021, Disney announced another reimagining of downtown Disney, which meant yet another closure for Earl of Sandwich. It would close January 22nd, 2022. But just when we thought it was over, no. La Brea Bakery closed January 2023, and Disney would bring back Earl of Sandwich one more time, setting up yet again another temporary location. But here's the crazy part. Earl is now waiting for its fourth and, I don't know, maybe final location. So Earl is temporarily residing in the mobile home behind me while waiting for his new home to show up somewhere back here. You just can't keep Earl down, proving that this sandwich shop, like many of us diehard fans, refuses to leave Disneyland. Earl may have sandwiches, but damn, he thirsty for that Disney love. That's why the fountain's here. Let's go back into DCA for our final big reveal. One of the switches that's happened that I think most fans are completely unaware of. Hey friends, I hope you're enjoying today's look at the history of Disneyland and DCA and downtown Disney. How we're looking at how several pieces of the resort have moved around over the years. If you're enjoying today's video and you want more deep dives like today, make sure you sign up and subscribe to Hey Bricky. That's the best way to help me keep showing up 3 times every week. I appreciate you for going on this journey with me and subscribing today to Hey Bricky. Let's get back to today's video. I'm so excited you're here. When Disney California Adventure opened in 2001, Bountiful Valley Farm had a charming little shop called Santa Rosa Seed and Supply. This original octagon building looked like a small barn and sold gardening tools, mugs, fresh and dried fruit gift packs, and even Bugs Life plush toys. Talk about foreshadowing. It was curated with well-chosen items that perfectly fit the theme. You wouldn't find typical Disney merchandise here. It was all about celebrating California's rich agricultural heritage, something that Disney doesn't do enough today. Not celebrate farming, but curated shopping experiences. More of those, please. But when Bugs Land replaced Bountiful Valley Farm in 2002, the building was rethemed as PT Flea Market. I see what you did there. It kept its quirky octagon shape and took on a whole new life, selling goods that matched the bug-sized world of Flick and his friends. The market stayed open till 2010, when it closed prematurely to make way for Cars Land. It used to sit right in here somewhere. But what I love about Disney, instead of demolishing the little building, they decided to move it and keep a piece of DCA's original history inside the parks. And I love that. And Disney relocated the structure to Paradise Gardens, where it became originally an enclosed seating area for Paradise Garden Grill. And today it serves as a character meet and greet spot, tucked away in the back corner of Paradise Gardens. Friends, I've always claimed that the Sim City aspect of Disneyland is one of my favorite parts of it. And this little building, it embraces that more than any other piece. So the next time you're snapping a photo in here with one of your favorite characters, just remember you're taking that photo in a historic area of DCA 1.0 and one of the last remaining pieces of Bountiful Valley Farm that still exists in DCA today. It's a small building with a big story, and most guests don't know it, but now you do. Disneyland and Disney California Adventure are filled with stories of change and transformation. It's amazing to see how some of these attractions and buildings have reinvented themselves over the years, adapting to the evolving needs of the parks. And hey, I want to give a special shout out to yesterland.com. It's one of my absolute favorite websites and a regular Friday stop to see what new article Warner West has in store. This site has been a crucial resource for many of my Disneyland history videos. It's straightforward, it's always accurate, and it dives deep into the history of the parks. If you're a Disney fan, you should definitely make it one of your regular stops as well. Thanks Yesterland for all you do, and thank you for helping me research and making today's video. Friends, if you would like to explore some more fun Disneyland history with me, check out this video where I show you the oldest items inside of Disneyland. Thank you so much for showing up, and thank you so much for watching.